if
I mean,
they were
eventually
trying to
this
do
will
that
get to the
half and half
boosters,
thing. Eventually, they might, but it all just seems for naught in a sense because there's some people that you're just not gonna move, and we're just gonna keep churning this virus around. Like it's just weird. Anyway, let's talk basketball. Kyrie comes back. Who's not playing?
Mm. Well, at home, nobody will be affected. I would say Cam Thomas is going to lose minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Javon Carter's out
Oh,
entirely.
oh, I could only hope
Um,
so. I don't think so though. I think Nash sees something in him and he's hoping that it'll break through. He's not going to play in the playoffs, but I could see him still going to him.
I would say probably one of Bembry or Brown will lose minutes.
Yeah, you
And then
don't need both
hopefully,
of
I'll
them.
tell you, hopefully James Harden.
He's I think he's
Patty
gonna.
Mills, you hope you get to bring everybody's minutes down a little bit because of him.
So Kyrie comes back. Joe Harris comes back. Give me your five. Your starting five.
Probably Harden, Irving, Harris, Durant, and Claxton.
Hmm. You think they'll keep?
Stop us.
Yeah.
Stop us.
It's
Then we come in with Mills and we come in with Aldridge for more scoring. And then we have, one of probably at that point, maybe Bembry's out of the rotation. You play Brown more.
I think you're right, but I'd like to see Aldridge. I'd like to see Aldridge, Claxton, KD, Kyrie, Harden.
Yeah, I mean, you probably would see that. Maybe the first guy off the bench is Aldridge, and he spells, Harris.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I just don't like for what they do. If you have those three, and LaMarcus, you don't really need Joe Harris. And Joe Harris, I don't think Joe Harris wants to be like a go-to guy. I mean, everybody in their mind thinks they want to be a go-to guy, but when he's under pressure, he doesn't do too well with the pressure. So take the pressure off of him. Let the seasoned veterans do their things.
This is again one of those things where whoever they start, it really doesn't matter. There's so many different lineup combinations they can deploy to just keep it on you all game.
Yeah, and they could just run this kind of like, fatal flying guillotine of rotation where you're just getting Harden with KD with Kyrie, Harden with Kyrie. Like they could just flip that.
Kyrie, you could have Harden, Mills, Harris, Durant,
right,
in one group.
And the reason why I like LaMarcus Aldridge starting is because if you could just bury teams, right, or at least be unstoppable, where you at least stay with teams, you could then get into the fourth quarters where you go downhill on teams with Claxton, KD, or LaMarcus, KD, depending on which
I'd say this: if I'm starting Aldridge, if I start Aldridge, I'm pulling Claxton and I'm putting Brown in that role, and let Brown become the roller and have the other four spaced out.
I don't like that.
That's basically what it was last year.
No, it was, but I think the NBA is kind of like hip to the fact that, like, at first you see Bruce Brown in the post, and you're like, okay, maybe that's just a guard that just roamed into there, but teams now are scheming to find him and go at him in the post, and it looks bad. Right. It makes him less valuable.
We haven't been able to deploy him like this with Kyrie on the floor, and so the way teams are going to have to guard it is going to be much different now. I just think if you're going to start, I don't like the Claxton Aldridge combination.
You don't? It was looking pretty good before the whole team basically got on health and protocols.
I just feel like, I guess because you could use Claxton in the switch role and you have Aldridge just staying down low defensively. Yeah, it could work. I
just think it's interchangeable.
The role man, Claxton?
Claxton's the role man. And
you use him in the lobs,
right? And he
have everybody else spread out.
Exactly, and he can kick. You could put it's not like his mid-range shots aren't like KD's mid-range shots. KD's mid-range shots are moving. They're mobile mid-range shots. LaMarcus Aldridge, you're kicking
He's
to him, and
yeah.
he's a set shot, shooter. So
I'll say this though. So like, think about that offensive Claxton as the rim guy. Like, you talking about killing teams. You have Harris out there. They are really unstoppable. That's like the death lineup.
Right. That's right. Like, you do the death lineup in fourth quarters. You finish teams off, or if you go down, you have something to go to. Like, when you have that much of firepower as a team and you have nowhere to go, that's kind of it's like setting yourself up to be in a dead end, right? But this way, you could bring in Harris in fourth quarters, have him space the floor, and one of the three is going to go off.
Yeah,
potentially KD, but like so now you could, with that lineup, you can use and now this is becoming an NBA cliche, but I feel like I created this world. But you could use Claxton's gravity in terms of lobs to make it where defenders get caught in between, like what the Nets haven't had all year because Claxton's mind hasn't been right. Is that lob threat that makes the dribble penetration or even the pick and roll work?
Right.
So
James has to get that defender in a bind.
Exactly. Like now he gets to do what James Harden does. So much of what is going on wrong with James Harden. Like, I challenge you to go back and look at some tape of him and Bruce Brown trying to run a pick and roll together. It looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it was sad.
It's not a good idea. It's cute. It's being too cute to me, and I hate when the Nets get cute with this shit. Like, I get it, positionless basketball. All of the players are flexible.
Have a lot of options there. What about lineups with Mills and Kyrie as the backcourt? I mean, you forget about Mills.
That's beautiful because Kyrie is going to need minutes with the ball in his hand, and you never want the ball in
Patty can't play point guard.
He's not a point guard at all. For him to be 6 feet. It looks like he must have played power forward in high school because he is not a point guard at all. Like,
he has a functional handle for an off-ball player.
Yeah, he can catch, take 2 dribbles, and shoot. That's what he does. He's
just not a point guard.
He's not gonna run your offense. And I think we knew that though, but that's not what we want him to do. When Patty's doing Patty things, he's perfect.
I'd love to see Kessler Edwards get. How about a Aldridge, Durant, Kessler, Harden, Kyrie unit?
Ooh. Yo, I don't know what's wrong with Nets Twitter. Like, they really be getting their panties in a bunch when you say really obvious shit. Like, the night before, I said Kessler Edwards has the most potential of all of these rookies. He does. He's got the best body. He's got the right size. He has a natural 3-point shot that has to get better.
Yeah.
The next day, he lays an egg, and I said, his offense has to become more dependable. His offense has to be better than this. If he's going to be an NBA player, it has to. He can't just be big. He can't just be like Kerry Kittles with the super soldier serum and not be able to shoot.
He has the skill set and athletic ability to develop himself into a nice rotational player in the NBA.
Right, but let's not get carried away. And
for the Nets to get that the regular season, like, you're probably not going to play him in the playoffs, but they can just get that youthful,
let him be
the bounce.
Let him be a minute eater.
Let David Duke take some of fucking Bembry's minutes.
Hell, no, let him take. Listen, it's going to sound crazy, but he should take Paul Millsap's minutes.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that should take Paul Millsap's minutes.
Oh man, he's horrible. He's horrible. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not like Paul Millsap is a chump. He's not. That was a great player. He was really, really good. I wish we could have the Paul Millsap of like 3 years ago. But that's not that guy. That guy is no good. That guy should not play basketball.
Rotation with Kyrie. So you'd have Harden, Irving, Harris, Durant, Aldridge, Claxton, Mills. That's your definite 7, right?
That's definite 7. You said you did say LaMarcus. Go ahead.
James Johnson.
No, he's not a definite. Put him on the side for now.
Well, who? There's no other. There's three people left, and there's nothing obvious there.
I feel like
Probably Bruce Brown is going to be in the rotation.
yeah.
Right, so he would be 8.
I
And
feel
then you have James Johnson, you've got Griffin, you'd have Thomas, you'd have Carter.
Do you think Griffin played
Kessler
himself back into the
Bembry.
rotation?
Who's that?
Griffin.
I don't know, man. I definitely like him. He could be the backup 5 who plays next to like KD at the 4.
Yeah,
I don't think you can play him. I don't think you can play him with Claxton.
There's a whole rotation there that could be really important with him. It's just
so
he's not.
Blake would be 9, and then 10 could be any of Bembry, Edwards, Thomas.
I could work with that. Not Thomas. I think
in this group.
I think Edwards would really flourish with that much offensive firepower around him.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Where he could just be bouncy and athletic and just get rebounds and tip-ins and dunks. Yeah. He could catch lobs. Yeah. With like let's say like a second team that's led by Harden and maybe Kyrie plays like 10 minutes with them. And that's just so much offensive pressure that all Kessler Edward has to do is play defense and catch lobs. That'd be great for him.
Who's the kid on the Suns? He's got like the big curly hair like Anderson Varejao. I think his name.
I know exactly who he's talking about. Right.
If he could become the poor man version of that'd be huge.
Yes. But he's so far away from that. What is his name? Chris Johnson or like
something like that.
Something like that. I every time I see the kid's game, I'm like, yo, that's exactly what the Nets need. We need and that size too. Because that kid is going to develop into a great wet wing defender as his offense gets better. He's going to, like he's part of the reason why the Suns win. Cameron Johnson, there we go.
Yeah.
That kid, I'd love him to be something like even if he could get into the periphery of that'd be great. But
mold your game in like Spurs Danny Johnson.
He could. You know why he could excel? Because he's going to be shooting wide open, and they don't need him to score. But imagine he's playing on a second team with Harris and Patty Mills, and one of Kyrie or James Harden. He's just going to take shooting practice out there.
Well, and think about this: if they're leaving you open to shoot because you're like the last guy they can worry about on the floor, it also gives you a clear path to the offensive glass.
Exactly. Go to the basket and dunk. Like I've been calling for somebody, anybody.
How about on the glass, on defense?
Yeah. They look. I'm not saying he's going to be a playoff piece. I'm not going to say but he could eat minutes.
There's 16
and
minutes
save these guys. Absolutely. Like, there's no reason to play LaMarcus Aldridge a ton of minutes when you've got kids like this. You could play this kid. You could mix him in with Blake. You know what I mean? Like, you could do a lot of different things. Sharp's not ready.
No, but he was more athletic than I thought he was.
No, Sharp. You could tell Sharp did all the things that we talked about in the summer. He needed to lose weight. He needed to become a little bit more nimble. He still has a ways to go. He's not Bam Adebayo out there, but he lost weight. He's become more agile, and you could just see like he's younger than all these other guys, and he's one of the more talented guys. The guy that I'm worried about. Oh, go ahead.
He seems like a prime guy to throw in a trade.
Oh yeah. He has to show a little bit more promise though.
Brown to a $6 million a year player back.
Yeah, but the kid that's kind of disappointed. What did you say? What did I miss? Can you hear me?
I said about Sharp. He just seems like the kind of guy to throw in a trade. I can hear you.
Okay, so that's probably what it'll be at some point, but I just don't think he's valuable enough right now. I think you gotta at least like let him have a few breakout games or something